Howdy folks, welcome back for another edition of World in Flames Collector's Edition, Days of Decision 3 Combined Game Playthrough. Today I'll be doing the September-October 1938 turn. But before we start getting to it, I want to go over a couple of different things. First thing I want to discuss is where the current U.S. entry is. So what I have here is a sheet that I printed out on Board Game Geeks. It's actually pretty handy. If you look up here at the top, it gives you formulas for calculating U.S. entry for each of the major powers, or each of the factions rather. But it's done for each major power within each faction. So for the fascists, I'm basically just going to calculate the fascists because I don't really see it getting to the point where the U.S. declares war on the Soviet Union. If that was to happen, the game has gone way off the rails at that point. So, to calculate the fascists, U.S. entry, it's the target major powers U.S. entry, which I'm keeping track of them here. Running totals, well, basically just whatever happens during the turn, I write it down and I add it up. Plus half all other fascists, minus the U.S., minus half all other major powers. Now, if we take a look at Germany, for example, let's see if I can get this on screen. Let's zoom out. Okay. I see Germany down here. I've calculated Germany's. Germany's current U.S. entry is 43. The Italians and the Japanese add up to 53, which is divided by 2, to 26.5. Then we subtract 12, which is the U.S. entry. Then we subtract all the other major powers, which totals to 82. That's the French, the Commonwealth, and the Soviets. Divide that 2, which is 41. So U.S. entry at this point is 16.5. Do the same thing for the Italians, comes out to be a -5. Yeah, it can be negative. And the same thing for the Japanese, it comes out to be 11.5. So now, what does that mean exactly? Let me grab the U.S. chart. In the World in Flames rulebook, there's a whole section devoted to U.S. entry. Now, there are various entry items that can be played during a turn with chits. Days of Decision does something a little bit different. What it does is that when U.S. entry reaches a certain level, the United States can play certain political options. What that does is playing a political option triggers certain U.S. entries in the book. So let's take a look at this. Basically, the very first one the U.S. could possibly trigger is would be U.S. option 9, East Coast escorts. So that's Germany's plus Italy's U.S. entry. If we look at their entry values right at this point, it comes out to be 11.5. Okay, so it's U.S. Germany's plus Italy's U.S. entry is greater than 55, but Germany's U.S. entry is greater than 45. The Commonwealth is at war with Germany, and the U.S. has a treaty with the Commonwealth. So already, we don't have war with the Commonwealth and Germany, and I don't think the U.S. does not have a treaty with the Commonwealth. So those prerequisites aren't even met, but even suppose, let's say that Germany's U.S. entry was 45 and it was at war with, Germany was at war with the Commonwealth and the U.S. and the Commonwealth had a treaty. So at that point, the U.S. could play U.S. option 9. What that does is it triggers U.S. entry option C, World in Flames. U.S. entries number 11, number 16, and number 20, which is East Coast escorts, gift of destroyers, and land-based air escorts. So it triggers those 3. Further, as the U.S. entry with the fascists gets higher and higher, the U.S. could do naval patrol, which would trigger number 25, number 29, and number 38. And eventually undeclared war, which the U.S. may now play any U.S. entry options during the U.S. entry phase of any later turn. So that's basically how Days of Decision brings the U.S. entry into the game, or the U.S. entry options and World in Flames into the game. So that's basically how that works. There's some further ones like Fleet to Pearl, Oil Embargo. Those are Japanese specific. That's basically how it works. Okay. Now let's take a quick look at the London Naval Treaty ratios. Okay, to start off with, no major powers are in the treaty. However, the treaty still affects how major powers can implement political things. Okay, so you keep track of the ratios, and depending on what the ratio is, then certain major powers could end up with a -1 to their political modifiers, and I'll show you that in a second. So the current ratios right now is we have the U.S. is at 42, right here. The Soviet Union is at 50. The Germans are at 68. The French are at 57. The Commonwealth is at 68. The Italians are at 78. And the Japanese are at 82. The way it's calculated is it's each SCS, and that's surface combat ships and aircraft carriers, are multiplied by the ratio rate of each individual major power. Like the Japanese is ×2, the Italians is ×3, the Commonwealth is 1, France is 3, Germany is 4, Soviets are 5, which is why you've seen the Soviets build a few heavy cruisers here and there, because they get a lot of points for them. And the U.S. is 1. Now the two non-treaty participants who have the lowest ratios get a -1 to their political effectiveness. Now, right now, that is the United States and the Soviet Union. So that's where I'll show you that right now. We'll go take a look at the political initiative track real quick. Here's the political effectiveness track, rather. Here it is. And you see I have two markers out. I have a -1 here, a -1 here. The rule book says that when you're the two lowest major powers, you're supposed to flip over the effectiveness marker. I think the counters were probably printed after that, because if you flip it over, it's the production multiple. So how I've designated that is I put a -1 political marker next to each box that holds the major powers political effectiveness marker. So the Soviets are 4, but effectively they're a 3 because they have a -1. The U.S. is a 2, but effectively they're a 1 because they have a -1 as well. So that's basically how that works. We've seen the current London Naval Treaty ratios. I've showed you the current U.S. entry right now. As you can tell, we're a long ways away from the U.S. doing anything. With the Germans, I believe, are the highest at 16.5. They got to get to 45 all by themselves for the U.S. to even think about doing anything. And it's a balancing act. The other major powers got to look at it and say, well, if I do this, it's going to trigger a U.S. entry. It's going to hurt the overall chances of the U.S. doing something to help the democracies and even the Soviet Union against the fascists. So it's one of those, should I, shouldn't I, what was the best benefit type of things. So, okay. So, all right. I'm glad we went over that. Let's get the turn started. So let's take a look at starting money for the major powers. It's not as bad as it has been. There we go. So starting money, we have Germany at 1. The Japanese are at -2. The Italians are at 0. The Soviets are at -3. The Commonwealth is at 0. The French are at -3. The USA is at 0. And China is at -1. Now, I've taken a look at what I think the major powers want to do, and I've put bids in. We do have some major powers who are getting bonus bid points this turn. So let's take a look at that. So the Japanese bid 1, they're going to get bonus bid points. The USSR bid 1, they're going to get bonus bid points. Germany, France, and the Commonwealth all bid 1. The one major power who did not bid, who would have gotten bonus bid points, the Chinese decided that they had better things to do and that bidding for them wouldn't really make a difference, as they probably wouldn't even get a chance to play option anyways. They are going to save it and try to do it at a later point. Okay, so let's see how this shakes out. Come over here and look at the political initiative, the initiative position. All right, so we have Japan. We have Japan. They bid 1. They're getting a +2, and they're also getting 4 bonus bid points because that's their political effectiveness right now. And you get your political effectiveness and bonus bid points if you didn't get to do a bid last turn and had actually paid for one. So the Japanese are going to be at 7. The Soviets also bid 1. They're going to get a +3. And they're going to get, because they also bid and didn't get to play a political option last turn, they're going to get 4 bonus bid points. However, because of the -1 for the London Naval Treaty, that nets out to be 3. So they come out to be a 1 +3 +3 is 7. They're tied with Japan. Now the tie is broken by the political effectiveness, and once again, the London Naval Treaty is rearing its ugly head as far as the Soviets are concerned. Because they get a -1, they're effectively a 3. Japan is at 4. Therefore, Japan breaks the tie. They will be first. And the Soviets will be second. The Germans bid 1. They get a +4 for their current position, which is 5. They will be third. The French bid 1. They get a +3 for their second place position last turn. That will put them in 4th. And the Commonwealth bid 1. They get a +1, which is 2. That will put them in 5th. So the last card is on Japan, and the last card is on the Commonwealth. Okay, so the non-bidding major powers, we have China is getting a +2. They got 1 bonus bid point because their political effectiveness is 1 from last turn. So that's 3. That's going to put them in 6. The Italians got a 1. That's going to put them in 7. And the U.S. has got 0. That's going to put them in 8th. Okay, let's go take a look and see what the Japanese want to do. Okay, Japan has decided to do a minor economic agreement, and they're going to sign that agreement with Chile. They took a survey of their convoy points that they have, and they have enough to stretch a line all the way over there, so they're going to do that. The only effect is a +1 in Chile for political influence, and so now Japan gets to activate a minor. And I think the minor they're going to activate because they really don't have a whole lot of options anyways right now. Gotta remember that Japan is limited in her options that she can activate. It shows right over here on this chart. So they can activate Argentina, Brazil, Central America, Chile, Iraq, Mexico, Netherlands, Persia, Portugal, Saudi Arabia, Siam, and Venezuela. So I think who they're going to activate is they're going to grab all these markers over here in the Netherlands, and we're going to activate the Netherlands. Because there's a lot of markers over here. And this is probably going to send the Netherlands flying. Might even drive them into the Soviet Union, I don't know. Find out what happens. Alright, so let's see what we got here. We got a -2 French. We got a 1 Soviet. We got a -7 German. -4 Commonwealth. -3 Japan. Okay, so the +1 Soviet's not going to do anything. So we can just get rid of that. Now, -2 French. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 8. So I think we'll move the marker here. And that will take care of the -2 for the French. So the British, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7. So 7 to here. It's got to go here for the first two. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got to go here for the second two. Now we got -3 Japan. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 8. I think we're gonna go here, and that will take care of that one. And then we have -7 Germany. So that's gonna be 2, 4, 6. And the additional 1 is blown off. I had to kind of really look at how we were moving the marker, because if we'd done the order differently, we could have drove the marker into the Soviet sphere of influence, and we really don't want to do that at this point. I mean, that's not really a good thing. Okay, so let me grab a die. We're going to roll to see if Japan ends the political phase. Fall over. 5 does not end the political phase, so we will move down to the Soviet Union, and we will see what they want to do. Okay, the Soviets can't do what they wanted to do because of their current initiative position. So old Joe wants to get some money out of this bid. So what he wants to do, he wants to get some allies. And there's a nice ally in the Middle East with a victory hex, a red city. So he's going to try to buy some influence with Iraq. So that is the option, RU option 0K influence. So initiative position is less than minor's willpower. Iraq's willpower is 5. You can see that right here. The willpower of Iraq is 5. Okay, choose an eligible minor and roll 1 die. Okay, the cost for them is getting the modifiers is 9 minus the willpower. So this is going to cost 4. That's pretty steep in cost, but hey, maybe Joe will roll really good. Let's see what he gets. Well, damn. Die skidded away. Okay, he got an 8. So an 8 is going to give him, you look on the chart, an 8 is going to give the Soviets a +3 in Iraq. So put the +3 out. I don't usually allow major powers to activate a minor when they use their 0 option, so we will go right to the die roll to see if the Soviets end the political phase. We've had 1 previous option played, so this is going to be a 1 or a 2. And a 3 does not do it, so we will move on. And the next power up is going to be Germany. Now the Germans, it's a little bit of a quandary, and I will explain. Germany originally was thinking about doing demand the Danzig corridor, which is this one right here. Now she could still do it, okay? May only play this option if her production multiple is 3/4 or higher, which it is. Poland is not in a civil war, conquered, at war with, or aligned by a major power. All of those are, Germany meets all those prerequisites. The problem for the Germans is Okay, if CW7 is not successfully played on the same turn, that's the problem. Okay, CW7. If we look at what CW7 is, it is, let me see that. Okay, right here. Back Poland. Commonwealth can only play this option if Germany has played G10. This turn, France must also play FR0F, which is agreed-to proposal. What that does, what the effect of this is, if CW7 is successfully played, none of the effects of this G10 is applied. So Germany won't get the German corridor. They won't get the resource. Germany cannot replay its option 10. Poland is now guaranteed by France and the Commonwealth. In the U.S., okay, U.S. entry is pretty high for Commonwealth. So the Germans are thinking that because both France and the Commonwealth have bid this turn, and that's been one of the things that the Germans did with Czechoslovakia, and they would like to do the same thing with Poland, is that play this option when the Commonwealth and Poland and France haven't bid this turn. So what I think the Germans are going to do instead is they're going to sign a minor alliance. And they're going to sign that alliance with, she can't sign it with Sweden because Sweden's willpower is 2 and her initiative position is 3. So I think she's going to sign it with Finland. So Germany will sign a minor alliance with Finland. Let me dig that out. Okay, let's take a look at this. So Germany meets the prerequisites. It's not in civil war, has been declared war on or aligned, and it does not have 2 alliances. The cost is going to be 5 money. We're going to apply the treaty chart if successful. And let's see, it's a formula and requires a die roll. So we add 1 to the result for each factory resource we have in the minor. There are none. Add the miner's willpower, that's a +5. Subtract your initiative, so that's going to be a +2. Net to +2. Subtract the distance in hexes on the status display, and Finland is 3 hexes away. The miner is not hostile, and we're not trying to break an alliance. So we're going to have a -1 to the die, and it does require a die roll. So anything but a 1. Germany rolls a 10, so that succeeds. And I have to go apply the treaty chart, and I'll be back with Germany activating a minor. The Germans now get to activate a minor, and I think they're going to activate Spain. I kind of like Spain out in nowhere, no man's land, so they prefer to have nothing in Spain at all times. So the -1 German, the -1 Commonwealth, and the 1 Soviet all not going to do anything. You don't even have to go over to the status display. Check that out, because they're not going to move the mark at all. It costs at least 2 points. So now Germany will get to roll to see if she ends the political phase. So there have been 2 previously played political options, so this is going to be a, yeah, it's going to be a -2 to the die. Well, 3 minus 2 ends up being a 1, which means the political phase is over. So the 2 major powers who didn't get to play political options, the French and the Commonwealth, will get bonus bid points for next turn. I will write that down, and I'll come right back with rolling initiative, rolling the weather, and then we'll take a look at reinforcements. Okay, I recorded the bonus bid points for both the French and the British. The British will be getting a +6 because their current political effectiveness is a 6, and the French, their current political effectiveness, I believe, is it's a 4, so they'll be getting +4. So the Germans probably think that they probably might not even bid next turn because it's, well, anyways. All right, so here's the initiative die. The blue die is for the Democrats. The red die is for the Bolsheviks, the Reds, the Communists. And the white die is for the fascists because I don't have a dye color for them. So I just use white. Okay, so the initiative rule comes out a 10 for the fascists, a 4 for the communists, and a 9 for the Democrats. Now, we got to modify that. So the fascists actually have a 12, the communists actually have a 5, and the Democrats actually have a 8. So the fascists won that roll. The Democrats would really like to go first. So what they're going to do is they're going to ask Stalin if he'll ask for a reroll. So the Soviets, who are in a +1 position right here, they can ask for a reroll and moves their marker down 1. So we're going to do a reroll because the Democrats really don't want to get pile driven in China. So we're going to reroll the initiative. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to win anyways. All right, so we got a 6 for the fascists, so the reroll actually had no effect whatsoever. 6 for the fascists, 4 for the Democrats, and a 5 for the communists. So I think the fascists probably want to go first. So they're going to go first. Because a 6 plus 2 is 8, they win. Now, the Democrats, the communists will go last. And the Democrats will go in between the two. So that's how that's going to shake out. Now let's do the all-important weather roll. Oh, a 9. Ooh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. A 9 on the weather roll in September, October is, oh, the Chinese lucked out big time. We have storm in the Arctic, rain in North Temperate, rain in the Mediterranean, storm in North Monsoon. Come on. Storm in North Monsoon. And then it's fair and South Monsoon and fair and South Temperate, and nobody really cares about that at this point. There's a +1 to the die roll for next turn, and the impulse marker will be moving up 2 per turn. So let's reset the impulse marker to 1. Let's go check out reinforcements. See what everybody has coming in this turn. This is the September-October turn. So we have some air power for we have a fighter and a pretty good Stuka for this era. For the Germans, those will probably be going on map. We have a garrison unit for the Germans that will be going on map. We have a sub going on map. That doesn't count for the London Naval Treaty. We have another sub going in the construction pool. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I'm using the ships in flames counters, okay? It specifically says in there to not pull out the original sub counters, but to modify the first cycle cost by -1. So the 2s become 1s. Everything's at least a 1, so the 2s become 1s. Because most of them, I think, are 2s. So it's a different scale. Right, the French get a garrison counter. The Chinese get 2 reinforcements. The Japanese get a militia unit, and they get one of their 2 amphibious assault units. They also get a pilot. The Commonwealth gets a pilot. We have a Japanese combat air group. That will go in the reserve pool for now. The Russians have a tanker. Okay, we have 2 British ships, 2 heavy cruisers. We have a whole bunch of British CAGs. I think they're all going to go in the reserve pool for now. We'll take a look at them. One of them's okay, but the rest of them are really... And that's it for reinforcements. So I got 2 ships to adjust for the London Naval Treaty. I will get these on the map, and we will start with the first impulse, which is going to go really fast. Okay, so I have placed the reinforcements, and I've actually already gone through the first cycle of impulses, because none of the major powers want to move anything if they know that anything that moves is basically going to get flipped over. There might be a little bit of movement on the European map, because movement points are doubled, so I think the Germans want to move one thing, one spot, but that's about it. Maybe even the French moving a couple units, but I'll do that when I get to that. So come back, we're going to roll, go back to the Democrat, the fascist impulse. We're going to roll for weather again. See what we get. Jeez, a 9, which is actually modified by +1. That's going to be a 10. Well, that's even worse. So it's going to be storm, rain, fair. And there'll be a +2 to the weather roll for next turn. And the impulse marker will be moving up too. So I'm just going to go through the impulses until, if the weather clears, then I'll stop and start recording again. But if not, I'll see you at production. Okay, so the turn ended on the 19th impulse, which was the fascist impulse. The weather roll for that set of impulses was a 10, which was modified to a 12, which nets out to be blizzard, snow, storm, rain. There will be a +2 roll to the modified to the weather roll for the November-December turn. So the weather in the next turn is probably not going to be so great. The U.S. entry roll for Japan for war with a Democrat was a 6, which is -1 modified by the Peking Bridge incident, which nets it down to a 5, which is a 0. The partisan roll was a 9, which is potential partisans in Persia and Burma, but the rolls were high enough so no partisans appeared. So let's go over production for this turn. So we have the Germans producing 14. They started with 9 and they spent 9. They have an infantry corps. They're finishing a sub. They built a garrison corps, and they got a twin-engine bomber. The Japanese produced 8, started with 1 and spent 2 on a pilot. Italy produced 4, started with 4, and spent 2, pulled a sub out of the construction pool for 1, and a light cruiser out of the construction pool for 1. The USSR produced 7, started at -1, spent 0. The Commonwealth produced 11, started with 9, spent 9. Convoy point, tanker point, pilot, infantry corps, and they pulled an aircraft carrier out of the cups. I don't know which one that is. That is the Formidable for her first cycle. The French produced 6, started with 3, and spent 5, a pilot and an infantry corps. The USA produced 3, sent 1 Lend-Lease to China, 1 build point. So that means they started with 2. So they pulled the Wyoming out of the construction pool. And it's at a cost of 2 to finish her last cycle. The Chinese, they produced 2, got 1 Lend-Lease for 3, started with 2, and spent 2 on a garrison army. So I'm going to get these new troops on the production circle, and I think I'll come back. I think we're going to run right into the next turn, because I'm anticipating that the next turn is not going to be very long at all, especially if the weather continues the way it is. It's just going to go fast. Basically a political phase and then production. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, let's take a look at starting money for the November-December turn, 1938. We have Germany at 0, Italy at 2, Japan at -1, Soviets at -1, Commonwealth at 0, France at -2, the USA at 0, and China at 0. So the debt load has definitely decreased since the beginning of this year. But let's see what happens in the next year. Alright, so I have determined which major powers are going to bid and put their bids in. Let's take a look at that. So we got the Commonwealth, France, Japan, and Italy all bidding 1. Let's see how that's going to shake out. Alright, so we got the Commonwealth. She bid 1. She's going to get a +2 for her 5th place position from last turn. But she's also going to get 6 bonus bid points. That's a total of 9. That's going to be enough to put her in first. The French bid 1. They get a +2 for their 4th place position. They also get bonus bid points. They get bonus bid points of 4 because they are in the 4th position on the political effectiveness track. That's a total of 7. That's going to be good enough for a 2 for them. The Japanese bid 1. They get a +4. That's going to put them in 3rd. The Italians bid 1. They get a +1. That's 2. That's going to put them at 4th. So the first last card will be at the Commonwealth, and the last card will be at Japan. Now let's see how the non-bidding powers shake out. And we got the Soviet Union and Germany, both at +3. So we'll go over to the political effectiveness track to break that. Obviously, the Soviets are here. They're at 4. However, they get a -1 for the London Naval Treaty, so that's an effective 3. The Germans are 5. Germany breaks that tie, puts her in 5th. The Soviets will be in 6th. China's got a +1, that's 7. And the U.S. is in 8th last. Okay, let's go check out, see what the Commonwealth wants to do. The Commonwealth has decided they're going to sign a minor economic agreement. They're going to sign it for another oil from Venezuela. And she's actually thinking that maybe she'll sign it for 2 oil. I gotta check how many tankers she has. No, she's gonna sign it for 1. That's gonna give her a +1 marker in Venezuela. It's gonna cost her 4 money. Plus the 1 for the bid will be a total of 5 money. And now she gets to activate a minor. And I think who she's gonna activate, because both the Commonwealth and the Soviet Union do not want to see this minor power in the hands of the fascists. So I think she's going to activate Turkey and try to manipulate that to the best ability to keep them away from the fascists. So let's grab all these markers. There's a lot of them. Come over to the status display. Turkey is right there in the middle. We got some serious markers going on here. We got a -5 for the Commonwealth, a -1 for Italy, a -1 for the US, a -1 for the French, and a 2 for the Germans. And I dropped something. Okay. I actually dropped the -4 for the Soviets on the floor. But so, yeah, as you can see, there's a big pile here. So all these ones are going to do nothing. So the 1 Italian, the -1 Italian, -1 American, -1 French, going to do 0. Now, the -5 Commonwealth, 2 German, and -4 Soviet. So the Commonwealth is over this way. So it's going to drive the marker either here, probably here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. That's 6 to here, 6 to here. And it'll be 7 to here. So we're going to drive the marker this way. Right there. Just like that. Alright. And then we got 2 German. Or -4 Soviet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's going to put it there. And then I can't help it. The 2 German, we're going to move it here or here. I think here. It's a better spot. better spot, I think. Alright, now we got to roll to see if the Commonwealth ends the political phase, which would probably really irritate the French. 10 does not end the political phase, so we will move on down to the French. Let's go see what they want to do. The French are going to sign a minor alliance, and they're going to target Belgium. Now, the formula for that is to add 1 to the result for each factory resource. They have 0. Add the miner's willpower. Belgium's willpower is right here. You can see it is a 4. So we're going to have a +4. Subtract your initiative position. France's initiative position is 2, so that's a -2, so that's a +2. Subtract the distance in hexes on the status display. Belgium is right next to France, so that's a -1, so that'll be a net +1. Then it's roll a die. If the result is more than 0, we have a +1 to the die, so any result basically is 6, that's a 7, and the alliance is signed. I got to put out the treaty chart for U.S. entry in the miners and pay the money, and I think the Commonwealth is going to pay part of that too. And I'll be back with France activating miners. Okay, so I put the markers out. There weren't many. There was just basically Belgium and the Netherlands and a small U.S. entry. You might be wondering why the Commonwealth paid for, or how the Commonwealth managed to pay for part of France's political option, because both France and the Commonwealth have a level 3 treaty, and having a level 3 treaty allows one partner or the other to pay for the other's political options, if so desired. And the Commonwealth would rather see France spend money on military units rather than political options, so she paid for France's political option. Most of it anyways. So the French, surprise surprise, are going to activate Belgium. Come over here to the status display. You can see Belgium is right there next to France. So it's 2 for the hex, -1 moving towards a major power that can control the miner, so it's actually 1 point for the hex. So France and Belgium will join France in her hex. Now, what does this mean? France has an alliance with Belgium. It means that in the event of war with a major power, or even the miner, the major power can align the miner and bring that miner into the war. Or the major power could declare war on the aggressing major power that attacked Belgium, either or. Okay, so we're at the point where it's time for France to roll a die to see if she ends the political phase. 9 does not do it, so we will move down to Japan. Now these two are going to be quick. You've seen these before. The Japanese are going to select bonus their O0B, I think it is, which is bonus bid points. So they're going to get bonus bid points for turn. They don't activate a miner. There's no U.S. entry. There's no cost other than the cost for the political option, which is 1. And that's it. The only thing Japan has to do is roll to see if she ends the political phase. Oh, I just killed somebody. Okay, that doesn't matter. So a 3. There has been 2 previous political options played, so the political phase will end. Japan will get, I think it's called increased bid points, and Italy will get bonus bid points. So I will note that, and I will come right back with taking a look at the initiative for the turn and the weather roll for the turn, and then we'll check out the reinforcements. Alright, let's get an initiative roll in. See what the initiative looks like. Oh, my big mitt. Okay, so we got 3 dice. We got blue, red, and white. The blue is the Democrats, the red is the Communists, and the white is the Fascists. Well, let's see. The fascists got a 9, which is modified to an 11. The Democrats got a 6, which is modified. Well, it's not modified, and the communists got a 7, which is modified to an 8. So the fascists won, and the fascists are going to choose to go last. And so the Democrats will be first, followed by the communists, and last will be the fascists. Democrats first, fascists second, communists second, fascists last. Now the all-important weather roll. Let me get my chart. This is November, December. We have a +2. So the absolute best weather will be fair everywhere and rain in the Arctic. All right, let's see what we get. Well, that's a 3. Okay, that modifies to a 5. Okay, it's bad enough. It's not. It's gonna basically, yeah. All right, we got storm in the Arctic. We got rain in North Temperate. And fair everywhere else. The impulse marker will move up 2. There is no modifier to the weather roll this turn. Let's go take a look at reinforcements. This is the November-December turn. Okay, we have a German infantry corps, a French infantry corps, a communist garrison army, a Chinese communist, sorry, a Soviet infantry army. We have a transport going into the construction pool for Japan. We have a pilot for Japan. We have a convoy point for Japan. We have a sub for the Germans going into the construction pool. We have we have a CAG. Germans are probably going to put that on their carrier. Yep. Reduce their pilots by 1. They have 7 pilots in the pool right now. There we go. I'm sorry, they have 5 pilots in the pool right now. Okay, we have a armored HQ, Rundstadt. He goes on the map. We have a convoy point for the Commonwealth. We have a big pile of ships coming in for the Commonwealth. 1, 2, 3, 5. 5 light cruisers. The Commonwealth definitely welcomes that. A pilot for the French, a pilot for the Soviets, combat air group for the Commonwealth. Put that in a reserve pool for now. Probably going to get some of these on the map. We have a bunch of ships going in the construction pool. So we have 1 heavy cruiser for the Germans, the Lutzow, and 3 light cruisers for the Commonwealth, all going in the construction pool. We have the Colorado going on map. For America, we have the Sparviato going in the construction pool for Japan. We have the Yamato going in the construction pool. I mean, that was Italy, not Japan. We have the Yamato going in the construction pool for Japan. And we have a carrier. We have the Shokaku going in the construction pool for Japan. So I'll get these on the map, and we'll take a look at the first impulse. I'm probably not going to record the first impulse because I don't really see anything happening. Japan really doesn't have any ability to get down, and well, they might. I'll have to take a look at it. I got to adjust the London Naval Treaty ratios, and then I'll be back in a second. Okay, we are back. The weather has cleared up. The weather roll was an unmodified 2, which is fair weather everywhere in November, December. We are on impulse number 13 already. So the Chinese, we're over in the Chinese front right now. The Chinese are thinking that maybe it's time to fall back from this this is a problem because now Japan's got her Marine unit back. It's going to basically come down here and then just move across the strait, and too bad for you. Okay, I got to think about this. Okay, we're back to the fascist impulse. The Chinese had decided to retreat from this hex to here and here to stop the possibility of the Japanese Marine unit landing here and moving across the all-sea hex side and taking Foochow. That would be really bad for the Chinese, and they don't want something like that. So they decided to retreat. That was their impulse. The communist impulse, they passed and hoping to end the turn, but unfortunately rolled a 6. They needed a 3. Didn't quite get there. So the Japanese moved a couple units around here, and they got a 2-to-1 attack on this again. So we'll fly the bomber out for ground strikes and see if we can do anything with that. So the red unit... Okay, the red unit, the red die is going to be the top, and the white die is going to be the bottom. 88, don't do it. Sorry. Sorry, Japan. You're just not having any luck with that hex, are you? Maybe they should think about building some land bombers. Oh, doubt it. Okay, so Japan has 27 to 12. That's a 2-to-1. They will use HQ support. It will give them a +1. And we'll roll a die and see what happens. Let's go check it out. Over here. It was very bad the last time they did this. 2-to-1. The Chinese will pick the assault table. Yeah, a 1 would be really disastrous. Let's see what they get. Well, a 9 is pretty good. 9 on 2-to-1, which comes down to a 10. Cross 2S, so that means half the Japanese units will remain face up. 2 Chinese units are killed, and the remainder shattered. There's only 2 Chinese units there to begin with. So it only took them, what, 2 tries to get this hex? 3 tries? 2 or 3 tries, something like that. So that's the Shanghai militia actually got killed, so he is going to be gone. But they will get 2 cadre points for that. Half the Japanese units will remain face up. Now let's see, well, the HQ is definitely going to be face down. So anything that moves here is going to be flipped over. We'll put the 8-3 there. No, we'll put the 6-2 there. He'll be one of the ones that flips over. And we'll put this there as well. So the headquarters, where are you? I don't know where I put it. Oh, he's right here. He stays face down. We're going to leave the 8-3 face up, the artillery face up, and the cavalry division face up. So that was a pretty good turn for the Japanese. That's going to create some problems for China, because right here, you look at the map, there's a lake there, and there's a lake here, right here. So the only way into this hex is back to here and then to here. They better hope the weather stays good. So that's the end of the fascist turn. The Germans moved a few units. No big deal. Okay, let's roll to see if the impulse ends. I want you to see that roll. That could be pretty important. Knocking over the convoy stacks as usual. So the impulse will end on a 2. Oh, 8, don't do it. Alright, I'll move up the marker. Back to the Democrats. They got the roll weather. Actually, I think they wouldn't mind. Actually, good weather would be good for them. Now, Well, I rolled a 4. So let's see what the 4 does. 4. Rain, rain, fair, 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 fair. Impulse marker moves up 2. Okay, so China would have really rather had fair weather so it could actually try and plug that hole. I can't plug it. Well, the Chongqing militia can go there. Yeah, this is going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for China, unfortunately. They're going to really need to get initiative next time. Okay. Communists, you have to help fill in. Sorry. So rain, it doubles movement costs. So this is normally 2. I don't have any 4s. Nope. I can't go across here. So I think what we're going to do is the Chongqing is going to move up to here. Actually, the Chongqing can go here. The Warlord can go there. So that's what we're going to do. Much as I don't want to, he's got to stay there. Oh, man. I think this is going to move here. Yeah, we just got to get everybody up here in the front line. Get in the line! Quick, get in the line! I think this is going to have to go here. I think we might have to move. I don't want to give up that river line. That's a really nice river line. Alright, we'll have to move him here. It's going to flip him over. No, these are both flipped over. No, I can't do that. Okay, well, we're going to take a look and see what China's got for reinforcements coming in next turn. Alright, they have a garrison army coming in. They're going to take a chance. They're going to take a chance. They're going to move him here. And just pray for rain. Pray for rain. Okay, that's it for the Democrats. Let's see, they rolled into turn. It will be a 3. Okay, I'm going to back off from this a little bit. There we go. Roll to end the turn. We need a 3. No. Communists. The Communists are at a 4 to end the turn. If they take the big pass option, I think they will. That will be a 5 to end the turn. And it's a 1. The turn does end. In case you missed it, it's right there. So I'm going to roll for partisans. And then I'll do production. I got to roll U.S. entry. Let's do that right now. U.S. entry for Japan is a 10. Ooh. That's going to be a couple points. Japan gets a +2 for U.S. entry. And, the partisans, let's see what the partisan roll looks like. Do that on camera. Find the partisan table. There you are. The partisan roll is a 3. Belgium, Spain, Finland, France, Yugoslavia, Portugal, Indochina, Japan, USSR. So Indochina can possibly have a partisan. The partisan value is a 3. There's no garrison there, so we could end up with a partisan in Indochina. I don't think so, not with a 6. No, it has to be 3 or less. Alright, so that's cool. So I'm going to come back with production. Okay, let's take a look at production. Production for Germany was 14. They started with 14 and they spent 14. Second cycle for a sub. A second cycle for the Lutzow, a motorized division, a twin-engine bomber, and a Panzer Corps. The Japanese produced 7 started with 5 and they spent 2. And they built Warlord, I think that's for Shanghai. The Italians produced 5, started with 7 and spent 2. That should be a 2 pilot. There we go. Not a 1 pilot. Sorry about that. Oh no, it's 2 points for each pilot. Duh. Okay, good. USSR produced 7, started with 6, and spent 7. 2 infantry armies and a tanker point. The Commonwealth produced 11, started with 2, so they built 2 convoy points, and that was it. The French produced 6, started with 2, and they spent 3 on a twin-engine fighter. The USA produced 3, sent 1 Lend-Lease to China, so they started with 2, and they spent 2. 2 combat air groups. China, they produced 2, got 2 for cadres, got 1 Lend-Lease, that's a total of 5. They started with 5 and they spent 6. Cav Corps, a garrison division, yep, communist, Chinese, and a infantry army. So I'm going to get these guys on the production circle, and that's going to wrap it up for 1938. An eventful year for all factions, really, all ideologies. Ups and downs for all of them. I got to get the 1939 reinforcements in the cups, and then we can start probably next weekend. It's going to be 1939 is going to be an interesting year with Germans building land forces. Yeah. All right. So then next weekend I'll probably start 1939. So next weekend expect a couple videos, and thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I appreciate all the comments all you guys make. It's great. Share if you want. Thanks for watching. See you next time.